Okay, so we're live with a community core apps hangout. Hopefully this is now live. This was organised by Niklesh. We've got Niklesh on the line, and Victor and Andrew. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Because
right. All right, I'll start from the right. I'm Niklesh. I'm the clock app dev. Andrew, go ahead.
Andrew, I'm the music app dev with Victor.
Yep, and I'm Victor. I work with Andrew on the music app mostly.
Okay.
So Niklesh, you organised this. What's the goal of these? We're going to have these regularly, and what's the idea behind this?
All right. So it was Andrew who came up with the original idea of having a commons hangout where we could discuss issues that affects all the core apps. So the proposal is to have these sort of hangouts once a week, where we could discuss issues which affect all the core apps, and perhaps also help one another with stuff that you are having trouble with. And in this way, we could sort of increase the rate at which we implement features into the core apps. So this way, we're not blocked in certain features for a long time. And during the sprint at Malta, we realized how fast you can get things done when you have people in your team in the same place. So this should sort of try to provide a similar experience, and I hope this can be useful.
Awesome. And we're not necessarily sticking to this time, are we? This is our first one, and maybe we'll get more people at a different time of day or a different day of the week or something. So we'll figure out the timings, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the first meeting is just to get it started. And then the intention is to basically alternate between two times that is suited for people in Europe and people in the US and so forth. So hopefully this should get better in the coming weeks.
Sweet. Okay, do you want to kick us off? Do you have a list? I know you're good at making lists.
Well, I have a short list, so okay, fine. Let's start off with the first item on the list that I have. I wanted to talk about the transition to the new toolbars and the headers, for instance. I believe right now in the store we have the clock app, the music, and is there any other app which have transitioned? Yeah, I think it's clock and music which have done the transition. Calendar also has done the transition and it's in the trunk, but I'm not sure if it's landed in the store yet.
No, it's not. There's a few apps that are currently blocked on uploading to the store due to an issue with Autopilot and App Armor, and we're working on that at the moment. Once that's done, we'll push the latest trunk of all of those apps into the store.
Okay, and I believe the Shots app developers were trying to transition to the new headers, but they had some issues where the toolbar icons used to appear in the middle of the app. And I believe a bug was reported for this, and it's also been fixed by the SDK developers.
Yeah,
so,
it also happened in the calendar app.
In calendar, yeah.
Oh, okay. So if the calendar had that issue and it was resolved, then I'm assuming it's been fixed.
I think calendar just pushed through and put the code in the trunk.
Oh, okay.
Assuming that it'd be fixed.
Oh, okay. So, all right, then I guess I can take a work item to just check with the calendar app with the latest SDK branch and check if it's actually been fixed.
Yeah.
And okay, so the Shots app developers have been trying to fix it, but I'm not sure if they have already fixed it, because basically the thing they had was they used dynamic tabs, and I believe they couldn't transition properly to the new headers. And they had two issues actually. One was the icons where they appear in the middle of the app, and the second one was they didn't happen to set the title of the tab. So in those cases, the header completely disappeared and wasn't visible. So I mean, that's, I guess, something that you have to know by now is that if you want to use the new headers, you have to set the title of the page, otherwise the headers don't appear. So that's one thing. And the second thing is, I don't know how well the new headers go with the new with the dynamic tabs that they're using. I believe even the weather app has this issue, and I'm not sure if they've done the transition.
No,
Right.
Weather hasn't.
So is there a bug for this title issue with the new headers?
Well, it's not an issue per se, because that's the basic requirement of the new headers, that if you want to use the new headers, you have to set the title of the page.
Yeah.
But regarding the issue with the dynamic tabs, I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Okay.
If not, we should get one filed.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just note this down in my
So
my
yeah,
list.
you're right. The two apps that have dynamically created tabs, Weather and Shorts, neither of those have transitioned to the new tabs.
Yeah. Andrew, could you take note of that?
Yep. What was that, weather and...
Shots app. The apps which use the dynamic tabs have issues with the new header translation.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Was there anything else that you guys want to mention regarding the new headers?
Do you know when the searching is landing? Or, like, we had a global actions as well.
Oh yeah, I believe that Tim has a branch ready for that, but he said that the API is still being decided upon, so it's not yet it's not yet stable yet. So, but hopefully when that comes in, it should be easy enough to implement. I'm guessing you're referring to the search options that you guys can use in the music app, right?
Yeah, we want a search button, and then also we wanted a global action, because at the moment we have to set the action on every single page we want it on, whereas we just want it everywhere.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh yeah, you might want to talk to Tim about that. I'm not sure exactly.
Right, we should look for an MP and see if there's anything glaring that we can find in what they're providing.
There's a search one, I think. Have a look.
All right, you guys continue on. I'll just try to find the link to the MP that Tim showed me yesterday.
Okay, thanks.
I think we're going to talk about bottom edge next, aren't we? So what we're missing on bottom edge is the page stack animations from the bottom. We've already transitioned to using a panel element.
Do you recall if the page stack transitions was something slated for RTM?
I don't know whether it was for RTM or not. Hang on, I'll find the bug.
Alright, I've pasted the merge proposal that Tim linked me yesterday, which is regarding the header input. I think this was the same branch for the search as well. I'm not sure about it, but yeah, I guess you guys can keep track of this to see if Tim adds support for the search API.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it has the bug related, doesn't it? So.
Alright. Oh yeah, you guys were talking about the bottom edge for the music app. Do you guys have any designs yet on how to use the bottom edge for the music app?
We had a video of how to do it. We converted our toolbar to use the panel component, and then we've got a page stack ready. We just need page stack animations to complete it.
Okay. So is the idea where you swipe up little and then you see the music toolbar, and then if you swipe further up you see the now playing page? Is that the
now playing page will come into view? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. I think Christian had a branch regarding the Paystack animation. If that's what is blocking you guys, then you guys should probably talk to him and then have that raised up.
Yeah, I think it's work in progress, I think. Hang on.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, to be honest, I think the core app should be the first apps which sort of start using the bottom edge, the bottom panel, for instance, so that the other community apps can start, taking the inspirations from the core apps. So I think it's important that we try to do that. For the clock apps, we sort of have some idea of how to use the bottom panel. I'm not sure about the weather and the calendar yet, because I don't think they've got designs.
No, they don't.
Okay, in that case, probably we could. I mean, the thing is, if they're not going to get official designs before the RTM, then probably we could discuss this with the community designers and see if they can come up with any good ideas for the bottom panel on how to use it better. I mean, for the calendars, you could sort of say, okay, you know what? If you swipe up from the bottom, you can create a new event quickly. But for the weather app and all this stuff, maybe they could provide more incentive for that. So, all right. So, could you take a work item to for saying like talk to the community designers about the bottom panel for weather, calendar, and the Shorts app.
Yeah.
All right, so we have the new headers we've done. We have the bottom panel done. What's next? Could we start with the translations?
Yep.
All right, so David, could you perhaps let us know of what exactly needs to be done in the translation area for the core apps before the RTM?
I mean, essentially not much, to be honest. I think all of the core apps are well internationalized, so it's a matter of making sure that if there are any new texts that you add to the apps, they are marked for translations, and most importantly, that the POT files are up to date. So whenever you add a new translatable string, I would suggest to just update the POT file at the same time in the same merge proposal. So I think that's the main thing. The other thing that we've started to do with some of the core apps with Calculator and Clock is to internationalize the desktop file, so that when you look at the list of apps in the click scope, the name of the app underneath the icon appears translated as well. We did this already, so the desktop file was already marked for translation for all the core apps, but we did it in a bit of a hackish way. And now we've got like the proper way to do it, and we've had a merge proposal implemented for Calculator, and there is one right now for Clock that I looked at it and it looks okay. So I think it's ready for landing. So it's a matter of, so just to recap, so in terms of translations, what's needed for the RTM is that, yeah, the POT files are all up to date, that all new text messages are marked for translations, and also that the desktop files are properly internationalized, which means a few changes in the CMake files, essentially, and on the desktop file itself. Let me see if I can find the bug for it that shows the actual merge proposal that we've got for calendar, sorry, for Calculator.
I posted that in IRC, so I posted
Excellent.
the Calculator NP.
Cool.
Is it on the Ubuntu on Air channel?
No, this is on app devel, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's essentially it.
Okay. And the one which you just linked to, Victor, the Calculator app, does it transition to the CMake for updating the pot files, or do we still stick to the old method of doing it?
It's a Calculator was already transitioned to CMake for updating the POT file.
Yes, that's a separate bug.
Okay, so yeah, I believe there was a merge proposal for the Clock app as well, and I think it's in review right now.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I tried to get someone to rerun the Jenkins job this morning, but there wasn't anyone around on CI-eng. But I mean, to me, it looked okay. I don't know exactly why Jenkins was failing.
yeah, me neither. I looked at the logs and I couldn't make sense of it.
I don't know if it's related to the problem that Martin Pitt mailed the Devel list about, that there's some kind of infrastructure issue with booting.
Utopic breakage, right?
The Utopic boot. But then that would be, you notice this across all the apps, right?
Right, and this looked like a temporary depackage kind of breakage on your log.
Okay. All right, then we just wait it out. I guess by the end of the day or tomorrow we should know what's happening.
We can continue poking people in CI-eng and get someone to have a look at it. It could be that the machine that was doing it is broken and it just needs wiping and starting again.
I'm tempted to just top approve because it looked good to me, and then it will get Jenkins running again.
Or that, yes, that will do it.
So yeah, that's essentially it for translations. The other thing that's important for translations as well is that I talked to Poppy or sent an email to Poppy a couple of days back, and I've seen him already doing some uploads. We are preparing. So I've talked to you guys about the Mobile Asia Expo show in June. It's on the 13th, I think, or let me see. It's on the 12th and 13th of June. So next week we are preparing an image to be used for the show, and this image will be set up in simplified Chinese, and we've been trying to get the platform in shape in terms of internationalization. And for simplified Chinese, we've got all of the translations done now for all core apps, and yeah, I'd like to do uploads this week, including those translations. So Poppy has prepared Clock already this morning. We've uploaded to the store, and he pinged me earlier on with a couple more that I'll upload. I'll upload just after the call.
All right. Okay, so the thing is, the Clock app has 2 or 3 merge proposals regarding translation, so I'm supposing we merge that in trunk and then we push a new release to the store again, all right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'd be good. I mean, right now, I've wanted to have at least a release done, so that it already includes the translations that have been done, in case there is no time to do another release this week. But yeah, I agree with you. As soon as we get these other translation merge proposals in, it'd be good to do a release for Clock.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you need this by next week. All right. Okay. Andrew, could you take that now as well as a priority? So any merge proposal regarding translations should raise its priority so that we can get that done before next week.
That'd be good. If you guys could do it, that'd be good. We're preparing I realize it's quite tight. We're preparing the image for Monday next week. But if you've got a lot of them and you don't know which one to look first, suggest translations.
Okay. Yeah. No problem. All right. So there's translations, headers, toolbars. What else?
We're going to say just general RTM bugs.
Oh yeah. So, okay, so you wanted to discuss what needs to be done as a high priority before RTM, or yeah, up until RTM.
Yeah.
Right. So, which app do you want to start off with?
Oh, that's a choice.
Well, there's probably a general guidance, which make them all beautiful, make them all work perfectly, make them all bug-free. Which that should be the case all the time.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, okay, so here's one thing that I think we should all agree to is if you think that you may not have time for a feature to be stable and perfect before RTM, then in that case you might want to discuss if it's okay to remove it up until the RTM and then bring it back later on, right? I mean, I was sort of considering that for the world clocks, but I understand that the world clocks is now an important part of the Clock app. So I'm going to basically rewrite the backend to make it more reliable and, well, stable for the RTM. So that's something I thought of removing it, but I think it's better off to keep it and then just improve the backend for now. So do you guys have anything in mind in the music app that you think is not working as fine as it should be and should be removed, for instance?
I don't think so.
No, I think we've got the big move to Media Scanner 2, and then once we've done that,
Okay.
everything should be okay.
Yeah, a few things might change in the near future, but hopefully there won't be any blockers.
Yeah.
I guess Calendar might be an app that might need some consideration. But I think everything's working good there as well.
Yeah, the issues that Calendar had mostly have been around back-end platform things like EDS and Sync Monitor, and those are being worked out, or they're done.
Okay.
Victor, Andrew, a related question, just out of interest, because I haven't been following this for a while. So after the move to the Media Hub, I understand that we're using the Media Hub transparently, but I seem to remember a while ago that there was some conversation about playlist API and whether we could use upstream's Qt Multimedia playlist API, or we'd have to do something custom. What's the situation with playlists? I mean, I don't see it as much of a priority, but I just let to know because I haven't been following it for quite a while.
The Media Hub are going to have their own background playlists, which we can then put the track queue into.
Okay.
It's not quite finished yet, because basically when the app's suspended and resumed, it doesn't know where it is in the queue. It can't be notified yet.
Right.
Otherwise, it's pretty much working, and that will then get rid of our lifecycle exception.
Okay, cool. So and that will allow you also to save playlists. I mean, is this related only to like the currently playing queue or list, or?
Yeah, it's just the current queue. It tells it what to play, so our app can be suspended, because at the moment we have to still be active, so we can tell Media Hub what to play next.
Right.
So we can basically give it the whole queue, and then it knows what to play.
Right. Okay. Okay. Cool. Thanks.
And when do you guys predict that your transition to Media Scanner 2 would be done?
Soon.
I predict last week.
We're waiting on that autopilot fix at the moment.
Okay, and if I were on Trusty with the SDK PPA, would that still work for me?
We're going to cherry pick an older version of the Music app to push into the Trusty PPA and do some testing on desktop.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can manually install the Utopic Media Scanner packages if you really want to. That's what we're doing at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Does that work reliably for you on Trusty?
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Right.
We should upload that to the PPA Poppy.
Yeah, we can push that. Can you make a note of that, and I'll get that nudged into the PPA.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, and I wanted to talk about one thing, which is the use of Trusty. I mean, in the sense that the SDK developers are testing Qt 5.3 transition, right? And then when that happens, I'm guessing Qt 5.3 would not be backported to Trusty, right? In that sense, do we recommend all the core app devs to have a Utopic virtual VM up and running for development?
Yeah.
So, as I understand it, Qt 5.3 won't be backported to Trusty. It could be in an SDK PPA for Trusty that people can use.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Are you sure about this? Can you confirm with Zoltan regarding this? Because the thing is, there were recent breakages in the SDK regarding some package names, and then I was told to switch to a Utopic VM if possible.
Right. Yeah, this is a conflict that we sometimes have where we recommend developers move to Utopic or move to the development release. I personally try and hold back away from the development release as long as possible, especially this early in the cycle. So I would like to encourage the SDK team to support Trusty, given its LTS 5 support release.
Yeah. All right, I'll follow up with Zoltan on this and then make sure I'll let you guys know probably next week what the resolution is regarding that.
Okay.
So that okay. What else? Anything else you guys had in mind?
Yep. I have a couple of things. One, a bug popped up today that is bug number 1324442, It's 1324442, and it's about removing gradients from apps.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's from Christian. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kind of makes me think we should look to changing our background color scheme for all that use gradients. Now we've already fixed calendar, and you have a new design for clock. So
Yes.
it's the rest of them, including weather, shorts. Calculator is a fixed color; it doesn't have a gradient. That's right, isn't it, Ricardo?
No, there is gradient
Is
from
there?
blue to light blue. When you scroll up and the keyboard goes down, you have light blue on the bottom and dark blue on the top. I think.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Okay.
Very, very, very faint difference between
Yeah.
the dark. But yeah, if design have mandated that we're going to get rid of the gradients, then we should get rid of the gradients.
What's the option though? I mean, what's the alternative? Like having everything gray, or?
No, I just think it only specifically says gradients. It doesn't say get rid of all color. So I think it just means have a uniform color, whatever that color might be. That's the way I interpret the bug, anyway.
What should we do with our blurred image background?
That's not a gradient, so that doesn't apply.
Yeah.
Not a gradient.
So I was under the impression that the calculator also gets a new design, right?
I've yet to see it.
No.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you guys said.
I have yet to see one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I think it was mentioned, but none of us saw it actually.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, okay, in that case, we could come up with a temporary solution and then have the calculator just paint a blue as its background the way it has right now. It just should remove the light blue gradient and then just put a blue background.
I think the workaround will be in the toolkit. It will just ignore the gradient, and you'll get the same color at both ends.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So the other thing I wanted to mention was related to this call and subsequent calls is keeping a track of the things that we're aiming to do for RTM. And previously we've used blueprints to track all our work items, and we use blueprints elsewhere, but we often also use systems like Trello and other Kanban related tools. And I know we mentioned this at Malta, but I wanted to confirm whether we're okay to move to using Trello. Now, we're using Trello for the email client, for the Trajita work we're doing, and that's working out quite well. But the main reason for doing that is because Trajita is not a Launchpad-based application, so there was no reason to use blueprints, which is why we use Trello for that. And also because the developers were familiar with Trello. We already have a core apps management Trello board, and I was wondering if we could, David, this is a question for you and everyone else, whether we could repurpose that and use that for all of the core apps aside from email client, which obviously isn't the core app, but yeah, it's related. So that we can have an overview in one place, rather than having all these work items spread around lots of different places. We can have everything in one place, and all of the developers can benefit from the communication that we're having in these calls, and also the visibility of what people are doing in other apps.
I like the idea of having it centralized in one place. The only concern that I have is that Trello, I mean, I like Trello, I love Trello, but if you get lots of actions in there, and I could imagine like having all of the core apps in there will be a lot of actions, it gets a bit tricky to follow. I mean, you can use filters and things like that, so that might be an option. But I'd say yes, but bearing that in mind, that yeah, like big boards on Trello, in my experience, don't work too well.
So if we tagged each card with the app that they're related to, or a general tag, and then the individual developer can filter out the stuff they're not particularly interested in, and someone like you or I can filter that out and see everything.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I was saying filters. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I know that there are filters based on persons. I'm not sure about the other filters, and there might be something that we can use. So yeah, I mean, I'd recommend that you and I or someone else looks at the filtering options in Trello, and then we make a decision. But yeah, I mean, I say I like Trello, but I just wanted to flag this one.
Yeah. I mean, I used to use Trello at the beginning for the clock app, and then I started using Trello and Blueprints, and at one point it became too cumbersome, so I stuck to Blueprints. But the one potential issue I sort of can see with Trello is that, like in Blueprints, right, you can add dependencies to a feature, right? Like for instance, you can say it's blocked by the SDK this, and then so when the SDK blueprint is seen by the SDK devs, they'll know, okay, I'm dependent on the clock app as well, so then they'll start looking at the clock app blueprint. That's the, I mean, when you move Trello, that wouldn't be possible. I mean, it's not too much of a drawback, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about it. I mean, I think the important thing is that the tool doesn't get in the way, regardless of it being Blueprints or Trello. I'm really happy with either. So I'd say just use the tool that you guys think is more useful. In terms of dependencies, I hadn't used this. You mean the dependencies that you get on Blueprints, where you get a graph of dependencies?
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Okay, yeah, that's actually quite nice.
By the way, Andrew and Victor, have you guys used Trello before?
I have not.
Yeah.
I mean, we can perhaps share like the clock Trello board, which is open, right?
Yeah.
Nicholas, do you have a link to?
Yeah. Give me a moment.
I might even be in there.
Yeah, I remember assigning you some stuff. All right, I have the link. Yeah, I'm pasting. Yeah, there you go. So here I've sort of have these sort of categories for different stuff, like to do next on the list, stuff that I've blocked, stuff in progress, and then stuff that are completed. So you can sort of have these cards in different categories, and then you can immediately see what stuff is being done or what being blocked and stuff like that. It gives you a very nice overview. It's pretty cool, actually.
So I've pasted a link to the one we use for the email client as well, because that's an example of a bit of a busier one, slightly busier one, that also has kind of rich content in there with some designs pasted in the middle as well.
Yeah.
And also shows, for example, if you look under the in progress lane, there's one called message composition view. It adds checklists, so you can have a set of things that need to be done within that particular task, and then tick them off as they're done, and it gives you a percentage done for all the things within that card. You can set milestones, you can set dates for these.
You can also comment on these stuff, so...
Yeah, you can leave comments, so you can actually have a kind of discussion, and you've got a track of the conversation.
So, Poppy, what did the slightly grayed out ones mean? That's the first thing. That's the first time I've seen it in Trello.
It just means it's inactive. I mean, nobody has updated it, or it's been inactive for quite a long time.
Okay, yeah. So I've had a look at I've had to look at the filtering options, and we could assign a color to each one of the apps and filter by apps, for example, or filter by color.
Okay. So you can filter by milestones, you can filter by people assigned to it, filter by the time. And yeah, that's about it.
Well, the milestones are just the usage of the colored tags. So
yeah.
in the email client, they'd use the colors for milestones, but we could use the colors for apps.
Yeah, true. I don't know. I would be willing to give it a shot to see how you guys. I mean, I'm personally comfortable with Trello. I don't mind either one. But it would be interesting to see how Victor and Andrew and Ricardo finds that as well for their apps.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a good place to start. It looks like a neat tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, just give it a shot, give it a try, and then you let us know.
So could we have an action item for someone to update the base Core Apps wiki with maybe a list of these Hangouts on Air and also the Trello board?
Yep, I can do that.
Yep.
Okay, just make a note of that. Is there anything else we need to discuss?
Trying to think of some. Not really. I mean, I guess what I could do is I could make a recall for. I mean, oh yeah, the one thing I forgot to mention is when you do the transition to the new headers, you will need to update your autopilot tests to work with them. But the change isn't too much, so it should be easy enough. But I'm just stating this so that the weather app and the Shots app developers can make note of when they do the transition.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have anything else on my list. I think that was it.
So when we do update the wiki, it might be nice to update some of these transitional things with what Nick just mentioned, and also maybe the transition to the translations in the desktop file, and put those in the wiki so that Core App devs know how to resolve these issues in each of their apps. Because right now they're lost, kind of.
Wait, so for instance, the transition to the new headers, do you want this to be included in the Shots and Weather app wiki, or you want this to be included in all the co-apps wiki pages?
I was suggesting mostly the Core Apps wiki, just so it's a reference point for other developers.
Okay.
Maybe.
Oh, like that. Okay. Yeah, I can see that being useful.
So I think those are the only two transition points that I'm thinking of right now, is just the autopilot changes for the toolbar and header, and then also the desktop file translation. There's probably more, though.
Yeah. And have you guys seen the new autopilot documentation included in developer.ubuntu.com? It's actually pretty nice. The links are quite easy to find. Let me try to grab it. Basically, so that's how I came to know about the transition to the new headers autopilot changes which are required. APIs. Okay, so let me paste the link and then we can go. Alright, so here's a link to the developer, to the autopilot SDK helper documentation.
Yeah. There's
So
another
essentially,
one.
yeah, well, it's the same one, yeah. So for people who are watching the video, it's essentially you go to developer.ubuntu.com, go to the apps category, and then in the left you have a sidebar. Click on the Ubuntu app platform, and then click on APIs, and then there you'll have the autopilot documentation that you need to find. So it has documentation for how to use the SDK helper functions, for instance, and it's pretty handy.
Yeah, we'll try to integrate this documentation a bit better on the site right now, but we thought that we at least put it in there so it's available. And I've just been pinged that it needs updates, so I'll be updating it also shortly after the call.
Okay.
The other question I have is when we're going to schedule for the next one. Are you going to send a mail to the list and figure out a convenient time for everyone, or just set a time, or what do you plan to do, Nicholas?
I'll try to send a mail on the mailing list, because the thing is, I really want the Shot app developers to also attend the meeting so that we can get their viewpoints. I think they're the ones who are sort of lagging behind the transition to the new headers, for instance. So I'll have to send a mail. I'll send a mail again to the mailing list and then see what happens. But hopefully I fixed the time much earlier on. I think this one was a bit too quick, but yeah.
So this kind of time around about now is when Joey is around on a Friday. So
True. But Joey cannot join Hangouts, can he?
He used to.
He used to. I'm not sure about Ubuntu on Air Hangouts though.
Yes, Hangouts he can. Hangouts on Air he can't because of the YouTube connection.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps he can follow on IRC. That might be another option.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it would really be helpful if these guys are in the conversation as well, because I mean, after all, it's meant to help everybody. So
yeah.
So okay, so that's my work item as well. I'll take care of the mailing list and then finding a good time, and hopefully this one will be more suited to Victor and people in the US, for instance.
Oh, this was fine though, so don't worry about me.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope, not that I can think of.
Awesome. Well, thanks for setting this up, Niklesh. And when you send a notification out next time, we'll get the next one scheduled in Ubuntu on Air, and maybe we can promote it a little bit beforehand with maybe a blog post or something, and invite people to hang out on IRC. And if they want to ask any questions, they can do so. You know, once you've done doing the collaborative bit that you need to, if there's any questions that users or other third-party developers have, they can address you guys directly.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Excellent.
All right.
Well, then.
Let's wrap up there. Thanks very much, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for everyone for coming to the meeting.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you. See you.
Bye.
Bye.